make sure you don't cheap out on the gifts at my upcoming wedding, okay? If there isn't at least double the amount I get from the rest of my family coming from you, then I'm going to get upset. I might even make you leave my dad at that point. Jordan, I'm not sure you should be saying things like that to me right now, especially at a time like this. I understand that you might be excited about the upcoming wedding and all that, but that does not give you the right to say such things like that to me or anyone. What? I don't have a mom, though, so how am I supposed to know what to be saying? How about you tell me what I should be saying, since I've had to live my whole life with only a dad in my life? I've never had a kind mom to help me through anything like this. I have been around you all your life, though, right? And I'd been trying to act as your mother the whole time, teaching you everything I thought you'd need to know. So don't use that whole I have no mom trick on me, because I have been here for 25 years helping raise you with your father. What are you talking about? You think I've ever thought of you as my mom? Could you stop acting like you actually did anything that makes you my mom just because you were around me for a little while? I'm not trying to act like I'm your mother, though. To be honest, I've just been around your father this whole time and thought it would be kind of myself to be helpful with you. And as far as I can remember, you always did view me as your mother figure. But I suppose that was all a lie then? Which is fine, I guess, but you still need to respect me for what I've done for you. Stop acting like I should still be thinking of you that way, though. And respect you? No thanks. I'll have you know right now that I never agreed with you getting married to my dad. Like I'd ever want some useless grandma around in my life. I wonder what my dad saw in your old butt that made him think marriage was a good idea. For some reason, it's starting to seem like you're acting even worse than before. Did I do anything to you recently? I know that for the past couple of years you've grown a little distant from me, but now it's almost like you're actually trying to make me feel bad. That's because I really want for you and my dad to get a divorce. So why should I continue being nice to you when I'm trying to get you out of my life? And as for the actual wedding, I really hope you don't actually come to it. You'd ruin the vibe for everyone else there that shows up wanting to celebrate me. All of my guests would have to learn my dad got remarried to some shut-in grandma. I understand that I work from home most of the time, but I wouldn't start throwing the word shut-in around. It does not make me feel good when you call me that. Well, listen, I've been saying that about you this whole time. And to be real with you, when have I ever seen you actually working a job? Since you're always sitting in that room all day, I'm sure you're just playing video games or watching YouTube, right? Just because you're not seeing me work does not mean I'm doing other things in there. What I'm doing is not just something I need to show you, and if I leave the door open for everyone all the time, I won't be able to focus. That's probably why you've never seen what I'm actually doing in that room. But I promise you that what I'm doing is related to my job. That's what you say. Thank God my dad is such a nice man, right? If he was any more strict with you, then you'd never be able to continue playing those video games all day long, right? How about now that I'm out of the house, though, you go ahead and divorce him? You really want your father to be alone that badly? Do you think that I'm taking him away from you or something? If I say that I'm feeling that way, will you divorce him for me? I'll put some thought into it, yes. By the way, I'm already married at this point and will be going to my husband here soon. You know that, right? So since things between you and I will really be ending here, I'll let you in on one final secret. My dad, he's in love with a younger woman than you right now. She's a model, so recently the two of them have been going on quite a few dates with one another. What? What are you talking about? Oh, so you really didn't know about any of this, huh? I kind of figured that someone like you would be clueless. I know there are plenty of older women who begin to stop thinking about the world around them as they've gotten older. But in your case, you must have completely forgotten that there are, in fact, better-looking women than you out there. Would you please tell me what's going on here? Is your father really going out with another woman now? I'm honestly not too sure, so you might want to go and talk with him about it. But from my point of view, I'm kind of thinking he does have another younger woman around. Just from the way he's leaving the house in a hurry sometimes, I can tell that she's got him all tied up in herself. Dang, Julian, there really is nothing left you can do now. I see. Well, thank you for giving me a heads up. If this is really true, then I guess we're closer to a divorce than I'd ever thought. But before you do get that divorce, make sure you allow me to have my wedding first. Wouldn't want to get any bad luck from you or my dad, right? Doesn't seem right to me to have my wedding after you both have cut ties. It seems that everything must be about you, then. All right, then, if that's what you want from me, then I'll listen. As for right now, I'm going to start getting to the bottom of things with your father.
By the way, I wanted to talk about this month's allowance. Do you think you can up it a little for me? I have Jordan's wedding and all coming up. With what little you're giving me now, it might make things a bit tough for me come time that I have to help her with the wedding costs and her gifts from me.
What are you talking about, Richard? Month after month, you've already been asking me to raise your allowance for whatever reasons you have. Are there really that many things going on in your life that require you to get more money from me?
There's nothing crazy going on here. I just happen to have a lot of work on my plate, and that leads to me getting stressed out. So I want to use that money you give me to get some fresh air and relax a little bit. You're making all kinds of money with your job, so it's not like you have anything to worry about. So how about you just give me a bit more each month in my allowance? That way things can be a little bit more fair here.
If that's how you're feeling, then how about you leave that dead-end job you have and work for a company that actually values you and pays you more? I don't want you thinking you can just take my money and play around with it all the time. But find some work yourself, and I promise you, you'll start making more money and won't have to keep asking your wife for her money.
Hey, don't say things like that. We've both been working for as long as I can remember, at least while we've been married, right? Yet you're not going to let me have anything that you've earned? I thought that by being married, we were supposed to share what we made.
I've been letting you have quite a bit of it already. The thing is, you haven't been giving me anything in return. You take all that money you make and spend it all on yourself. Everything that has to do with this house, I'm being left to pay for. And for as long as I can remember, I haven't gotten any money from you to help me out, or even as a gift to show your love and appreciation for me.
But look, Jordan is going to be leaving us soon, so you won't have to pay for her anymore, right? That means you and I can have a little more fun with our lives, right? So you shouldn't be upset about giving me a bit more to spend every month. And as for that appreciation you're seeking from me, I give it to you every day by staying with you.
A little more fun with our lives? For some reason that makes it sound like you don't want to have fun with me, but rather have fun by yourself outside of the house. Hasn't that been where all my money has gone to already that I've given you? I'm sorry, but I'm not okay with that.
Hey, what's gotten into you? You've never spoken to me like that before. What happened to you today that's made you so stingy?
I'm starting to realize that your spending is a little suspicious. Up until now, I haven't really thought anything of it, but then I was being asked for money and gifts from your daughter, and she told me that she wanted more from me than anyone else in the family.
That sounds like her. She must have gotten that kind of greedy mindset from her mother. That woman went and took all the money she could get and ran from me. Jordan must have seen her mother doing all of that and ended up loving money and things just as much as her.
And you seem to be the same way as those two.
What was that?
Whatever. Jordan, what is this all about? Where is my seat supposed to be today? Did you forget to tell the wedding staff to set my name out? Huh? I didn't forget anything today. I just made sure that there was no place for you today at this wedding. What? There's no seat here today for some fake wannabe mom like you. This wedding is only for my real family, so a stranger like you needs to get out of here. Just leave whatever gifts and money you brought for me up front and go home. You made sure to bring me a lot of things today, right? Fake wannabe mom. Up until this very day, I have done so much to support you, yet after all of that, this is how I'm treated? You just supported me out of your own desires. I never asked you for a single thing, right? If you're going to throw a fit about how unfairly you think you've been treated, how about you go outside and do it? We wouldn't want the security in this building to have to come and carry you out for causing a ruckus, right? But if that's what you really want, then go ahead and start crying. I see. So this is really how things are going to be? That's right. And right now it seems your father doesn't care about what's happening to me and is laughing while I stand here patiently waiting. He told me already that you're the bride today and that if you don't want me here, there is nothing else I can do. He seems to think you want him to be alone today, and that makes him laugh out of happiness. Awesome! Dad is so cool. Why did I ever decide to stick my neck out for you guys all this time? Don't worry, because you don't have to do anything for us anymore. Now shut up and get out of here. Or else I seriously will have the security team come and carry you out. You're not supposed to be here today, so get! All right, I'm going then. And if you regret what you've done later on, I'm not going to listen to you whine. You think anything's going to change today by you not being here? Stop thinking that you're all that important to any of us. I'm cutting ties to you today. Goodbye forever, you useless grandma. Understood. I'll make sure to have these divorce papers handed in today. That will be my wedding gift to you. Seriously? Thank you. Now I really can say goodbye forever to you. Hey, what's going on here? I'm being told that the wedding is now being canceled. They're asking everyone to leave the wedding hall now. Who is this? Oh, stop playing dumb, you idiot. I'm your daughter, Jordan. I don't have a daughter, though. You're really going to start telling crappy jokes like that now? Why are things turning out like this now? I never told anyone that I wanted my wedding canceled. Well, don't worry, because I did. Huh? What does that mean? How could you have canceled my wedding? Well, I was the one who went and paid for the whole wedding. What? And since that wedding I paid for would not be seating me, I chose to have it canceled. I have no idea what you're talking about. This whole wedding was all paid for by my dad. What the hell are you going on about? And now that you say that, I'm sure that's how he explained things to you. But unfortunately, whatever your father was telling you was a lie. In reality, I was the one that paid for every little thing related to the wedding today. What? Are you being serious? Well, yes, of course I'm being serious. Isn't the fact that your wedding is being canceled right now clear enough evidence of that? Why? If you're really the one who paid for everything, then why did Dad lie to me about it? That's because your father wants you to continue liking him, and would rather you like him than me. And, well, that led to him trying to show off so that you'd stay with him instead of coming to me. Well, it's too bad things had to end this way, because now you're going to find out how poor of a father he really is. No way, you have to be lying. I just went and asked Dad about this, and he won't say a word to me now. I'm sure he won't. Because no matter how much he's tried to fake being the man of the house, the only true man of the house with all the power and money was me. That man can't do anything by himself, and you'll soon realize that. You have all the power and money, but the one making the most money is Dad, right? No, that would be me. Honestly, with your father, he's already been trying his best just to stay alive, and that's with the help of me giving him a monthly allowance. Huh? What does that mean? I've never heard anything about that at all. And that's because you never care to listen to what anyone has to say to you. I have talked about this many times now, about how I happen to work a very important job from home, and that I'm the one paying for everything in the home. And I have made sure that every time you tried to say I was only in my room playing games, that I am actually in there working diligently. Yet you never listened to any of those words I said, and continued to believe in that lie you made up about me. So don't get upset with me that you chose to live in your false reality. Are you really making all that money from home? Well, I sort of had the idea that you'd been working a little bit in that room, but I just assumed that you were only making enough to support your hobby of gaming. Well, you never actually cared about anything I was up to and would always leave the house to go out and mess around. That's why you have no idea what kind of things I was doing for work. But I was always getting my allowance from Dad. I know, and all of that money was coming from me. But your father wanted to make sure, no matter what, that you never found out about that. So I had to keep it a secret for so long that I was the one who really handled all her money to the family. Why would you keep all of that a secret? Because if I were to say anything, then your father would have been destroyed, right? He wanted to seem like this really cool father in front of you, and during those times I was in love with him. So I had to give in to what he wanted and keep everything a secret with him.
Wait, Dad is starting to get really upset right now. He wants to know why you'd start talking about all of that. He's telling me to tell you that all of that has nothing to do with my wedding.
What? Oh, such a loser. So that's all he has to say about what's going on? What do you think of him, Jordan? Do you really still find your father to be a really cool guy after he went and kept all of this stuff about his income and money to you a secret?
I really want to get pissed off at him right now, and what he's done is totally uncool and makes me want to say goodbye to him forever, too. Why have I respected my dad so much all this time?
Right? I was thinking that myself, and that's why I gave up on keeping that secret from you. So there you go. That's why I've told you the truth, yet it seems your father still wants to keep the truth hidden from you.
I get it now. I get it all now, so you can come back here. You can come back here and join my wedding as long as you tell all of the staff it won't be canceled.
You really think something as wonderful as that is going to happen for you? I told you already that I'm going to get this divorce, right? I knew something like this was going to happen today, so I made sure to prepare in advance. That's why all of your things are out of the house now, and I'll go ahead and toss them for you, okay?
What? What are you talking about now? Wait, does this mean the house is also...
That's right, my name is on the house. I've been the one renting the house this whole time, and pretty soon here I'm going to be moving out. I've really wanted to get myself a proper office for work, and so I was thinking it'd be best to get myself an office and then set up a bed in there to sleep. I'll have the lock and everything changed to the house so both you and your father can stay out of it now.
Wait a second. Things are going way too quickly for me. I never heard about any of that either. Aren't you being a real jerk right now, tossing all my things out of the house like that?
Wasn't all of this what you wanted, though? I am giving you the gift of a divorce between myself and your father, yet you're going to get all upset about it now?
You don't have to divorce Dad anymore. Please come back here. You have to do something about what's going on here. All of the groom's family is getting really upset with me now and are threatening to take him away from me.
Wow, sucks to be you then, I suppose. Too bad that I don't care. Honestly, I'm sure they're all happy to learn about the true person you and your father are before having the wedding. They're probably thankful for what I've done.
Shut the hell up! Do you have any idea what this will do to my life?
You think I care about some complete stranger's life? Be happy that I gave up 25 years of my life supporting you and your father. Be thankful for all that.
I understand, and I am very thankful for all you've done. Thank you so much for everything, Mom. So please come back here now.
I don't ever remember being your ATM, all right? So stop it with all of that fake appreciation for me and get real. Really, do you have any idea how much I've done with your father? Always needing me to do everything for him, even going as far as asking me to pay for your whole wedding, and then on the day of, stabbing me in the back. I think the both of you need to spend some quality time in hell for this.
Don't say things like that. I'm not kidding when I say that right now things are really crazy. Dad's girlfriend just showed up to the wedding. She just started to tell him about how back in the day she did some things with his older brother. He knew about how she used to work as a prostitute and would take advantage of her all the time.
Oh, she's talking about that stuff now? I knew there was something wrong with her. But to think she did something as wild as that with his brother.
What? Do you know her?
After you gave me a few hints about how your father was cheating on me, I decided to delve into it a little bit more. I got my lawyer involved, and we hired an investigator to have a look at what was going on with your father and her. We needed to know about who she was and what she was up to.
You went and did something like that?
And as for the allowance I was handing your father each and every month, most of it was going to that woman and the time he spent with her. I want all of that money back that I wasted on him, so I'll make sure this settlement I get from him is huge.
Settlement?
You thought I'd just skip all of the fun? I know about how he's been with her for the longest time now, cheating on me. And, well, cheating on me while married gives me the ability to take action against him. I'm still in the talks with my lawyer, so please give me just a few more days.
Wait, this can't be happening. Dad doesn't even have the money to pay you back.
You think I care about him having the money or not? If he doesn't, then he'd better start moving his ass and making that money for me.
We're being asked to pay for the rest of this wedding now. We don't have that kind of money on us. Please come here and do something about this, Mom.
Who is this mom you're talking about? You would never be calling some stranger that, right? You and I have cut ties completely now. So would you shut your mouth and let me have the peace of being free from you both that I deserve?
Please don't say things like that, Mom. I'll apologize to you for everything my dad and I have done. Don't abandon the both of us at a time like this.
Up until a few days ago, I had been trying my best not to be bothered by everything your father and you were doing and just focus on my work. But now that I think about it, I should have gotten rid of both of you long ago before things came to this. Now, I've told you what this divorce is, right? It's that present you asked me for before your wedding that's better than anything anyone else will give you, right? And you losing your wedding and going into debt with your father is something I believe suits the both of you well. So please take that next step forward and fall into the hell you've created for yourself. After everything that happened, the rest of the groom's family had had enough of Jasmine, and they all began walking out of the wedding hall, officially ending the event that Jasmine had been so excited for. For her, this was supposed to be the happiest day of her life, but it had turned into an absolute disaster. The sight of the guests leaving, one by one, was something I'd never forget. The once vibrant and joyous atmosphere had quickly transformed into one of awkwardness and tension as the last of the groom's family made their way to the doors. In the midst of it all, Jasmine tried to salvage what little dignity she had left, but it was clear that the day had spiraled out of control and nothing could save her at that point. Jasmine had previously claimed that she was already married to her fiancé. She said it just to make me feel worse, like there was some deep reason for her to abandon me, for me to feel the sting of her leaving even more acutely. But I knew that it was just a lie. She said it to manipulate me, trying to get under my skin and making me question everything I had ever believed about our relationship. Of course, in the back of my mind, I knew it was nothing more than an attempt at emotional manipulation. She wasn't married to anyone else. She was just playing games, pretending like she had some great new life ahead of her, knowing full well she had no future to go to once this whole sham of a wedding came crumbling down. As the rest of the groom's guests continued filing out of the hall, Jasmine's own guests began to leave as well. The wedding she had been so excited for was officially over, and there was no hiding it anymore. The hall, once full of life and chatter, had now become a shell of what it once was. All that was left was Jasmine and Carter standing there in the middle of it all, surrounded by the wedding staff who were asking for the remainder of the payment. The air in the room was thick with tension, and it was clear that this was not the way things were supposed to go. The staff was insistent the remaining balance of $5,000 still had to be paid, but neither Jasmine nor Carter had the means to cover it. The whole situation was falling apart at the seams. Jasmine, in a desperate attempt to save face, wrote a check for the amount, knowing fully well that it would bounce in a couple of days. She knew the trouble it would cause. It was clear that she didn't care about the consequences. She was more concerned with the immediate embarrassment she would face if she couldn't come up with the money on the spot. But even that wasn't going to work. The check would be worthless, and the consequences would be worse than she could imagine. By the time Jasmine and Carter arrived back at the house after the wedding, they were both in for yet another shock. Everything they owned had been thrown out into the yard. The doors were locked, just as I said they would be. They were effectively locked out of the house, and they thought they would still have a place in. Their world was crumbling down around them, and they had nowhere left to turn. I wasn't even there at the time, but I watched everything unfold through my doorbell camera. It was almost like watching a train wreck in slow motion. They sat outside for hours, begging to be let inside. They pleaded, tried to reason with me, and I wasn't interested in listening. I didn't care about what they had to say. I wasn't going to let them back into the house. They were reaping what they had sowed. They had manipulated, lied, and hurt me, and now it was time for them to face the consequences of their actions. Eventually they gave up, their voices hoarse from shouting and pleading. They walked away, but before they left, they had one final heated argument. They screamed at each other, blaming one another for everything that had gone wrong. Jasmine blamed Carter for not stepping up, and Carter blamed Jasmine for everything that had led them to this point. It was a vicious back and forth of accusations and anger. After a while, they both ran out of energy and ran off, completely defeated. In the days that followed, they moved into a cheap apartment. The place was bare, no furniture, nothing but what they had left from their old life. It was a sad, pathetic sight. I knew they had nothing to their name. They were living in a place that could barely be called a home, trying to put together a life that was already falling apart. But I didn't care. They deserved it. Not long after, my lawyer visited them, letting Carter know that the divorce had been finalized. Carter and I were officially exes. It was over. There was no turning back, but along with the divorce papers came a reminder of the settlement Carter owed me. He was given 3 months to pay the amount, or I would take him to court and raise the amount I was asking for. I wasn't sure he would be able to get the money together, but it didn't matter to me anymore. The settlement was a small price to pay for all the pain they had caused me.
The truth was I didn't need the money. I already had more than enough to live comfortably, and I knew that Carter and Jasmine would never be able to get anywhere near what I had. The divorce was already a victory in my eyes, and the money was just a small bonus in the long run. It would help me move on, but it wasn't going to define me. The real win was being free from them. As time went on, Jasmine and Carter both came to regret their actions. They regretted not appreciating me, not realizing that all I had done for them. They sat in that tiny, empty apartment crying about what they had lost. They would never have what I had. They would never know the peace and freedom that I now had. But that didn't concern me. They deserved everything they were going through, and I wasn't going to waste any more time thinking about them. In the end, it was just karma catching up with them, and I had no doubt that when the wedding hall found out about the bounced check, they would go after Jasmine and Carter, adding yet another layer of misery to their already ruined lives. They would have a new kind of hell to live in, and I couldn't help but laugh at the thought of it. As for myself, I reached a point where I knew I had to let go of the past entirely. Ending the lease on the house I had rented was the first step toward closing that chapter of my life. It was more than just a decision about a place to live. It was symbolic, a way to finally move on from all the negative memories that had accumulated there. The house, once a space I had thought of as a home, had turned into a constant reminder of the pain, betrayal, and emotional toll I had suffered at the hands of those I had once called family. Every corner, every room held echoes of arguments, manipulations, and broken promises. It was clear to me that the house no longer had a place in my future. I wasn't interested in staying in a place that had been tainted by the past, and I decided to make a fresh start. I didn't need the space that the house had provided for me. Instead, I chose to focus on something that would give me more independence and control: my work. I ended up finding a decent-sized office space downtown, a place where I could immerse myself completely in my career and leave the wreckage of my previous life behind me. It was the perfect decision for me. It wasn't just about the physical space, but about what that space represented. It was a fresh start, a clean slate, and I was ready to make it my own. The office was spacious and well suited to my needs. It wasn't luxurious, but it had everything I needed to be comfortable and productive. There was a small kitchenette inside the office, which was a nice touch. I could grab a cup of coffee or prepare a quick meal without needing to leave the building, something that made my workdays feel more efficient. More than that, the office space was a place I could call mine. It wasn't shared with anyone else, and it didn't come with any emotional baggage attached. This was a new environment, one where I could focus entirely on what mattered most to me: my job and my future. In addition to the main office area, there was one room adjacent that had plenty of potential. The moment I saw it, I knew it could serve as a small bedroom for me. I didn't need anything extravagant, just a quiet space where I could sleep and recharge when I needed to. It was perfect for my current lifestyle, allowing me to combine both work and rest in the same place. It wasn't a permanent solution, but for the time being, it worked perfectly. I didn't need a large apartment or house to live in. What mattered was that I had a place that was mine, where I could build a routine and focus on my career without distractions. For now, this office space is where I'll be living, and I couldn't be more content with that choice. I've realized that I don't need the distractions or complications that came with living in a traditional home. Here I can channel all of my energy and attention into my work, and that's exactly what I've been doing. For far too long, I had invested so much of myself into people who didn't appreciate me, into relationships that drained me emotionally. I had poured so much of my time and energy into others that I had forgotten to invest in myself. But now, with this new space and renewed focus, I'm finally able to turn that around. My work is where my attention lies now, and it feels incredibly liberating to be able to dedicate myself entirely to something that is meaningful and rewarding. This change in focus has been transformative for me. I've found a sense of purpose and fulfillment that I never realized I was missing before. The shift from focusing on toxic, draining family dynamic to invest in my career has allowed me to grow in ways I never imagined. No longer do I have to worry about the selfishness and greed that defined my past relationships. I'm finally free to focus on my future and what I want to achieve without constantly being dragged down by people who don't care about me. I've learned that I don't need anyone's approval or validation to be happy. The family I once had was filled with selfish, manipulative individuals who took and took without ever giving back. Their priorities were always about themselves and what they could get from me, never about what I needed or wanted. They were people who never appreciated the things I did for them, never recognized the sacrifices I made, and certainly never acknowledged the love and effort I put into maintaining those relationships. They only saw me as a means to an end, and when I stopped giving, they showed their true colors. That realization has been freeing for me. The more I reflect on it, the more I understand that my life will be so much better without them. They were a weight I carried for far too long, and now that I've cut ties, I feel lighter and more at peace. It's been a slow journey, but I've learned to let go for the need of approval and acceptance from people who were never capable of giving it. In place of that, I've focused on building something for myself, something that I can be proud of.
Living here in this office space is a small step in the right direction. It's not about luxury or material possessions, it's about creating a life for myself that is grounded in purpose and self-sufficiency. I no longer need to rely on others to feel validated or secure. My work is something I can control, something I can shape and mold into something meaningful. This is my time to shine, to focus on my career, and to build a future that doesn't depend on anyone but myself. And while I know that I am not where I ultimately want to be in life, I am content with where I am right now. I've made peace with the past and the choices I've made. The pain and struggles of the past no longer define me. They've become lessons, stepping stones that have helped me grow into a stronger, more independent person. I no longer feel the need to prove myself to anyone. The family I once had is a distant memory, and their actions no longer hold any power over me. Now I have the freedom to focus on my own future, and that's exactly what I plan to do. This office space, this new life, is all mine, and it's just the first step toward building something real, something lasting. And for the first time in a long time, I feel like I'm on the right path. I'm not just surviving anymore, I'm thriving, and that's all that matters. Thank you for watching and listening. We hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe. Also, feel free to leave a comment about what you thought of the story. We look forward to seeing you at the next story.